Ooh, yes. Do not adjust your set. Your eyes do not deceive you. Your boy Viper is back for the second time tonight. We have another episode of VypDrive. We got Shanes Starnes in the building, and we're gonna talk a lot about tech and Android and stuff here in a few minutes. But yeah, this is obviously you guys, most of y'all that will come in here, you will know that I was live a few minutes earlier with Thunder E, and now we're live again with Shanes Starnes. So yeah, man, your boy stays busy. What's up, Tech for your needs? How you doing? I see you out there. Your boy stays busy. I mean, at this point, I have a podcast episode practically every day this week. So yeah, you're gonna be seeing a lot of me in the immediate future. So yes, and yes, Alex, I changed shirt. I'm rocking my new merch tonight, so I figure I would do a clothes change real quick. Looks good to me. So yeah, I'm digging the new merch. Definitely digging the new merch. But yeah, let's go ahead and get this party started after I get a drink and bring in my man here so we can start this episode of VypDrive. Oh boy. Oh, choke alert. Thank you, Alex. Thank you. All right. So, this is VypDrive episode 122. And 122 brings one of the OG tech YouTubers to the podcast. Long-time Android content creator is in the back. He's waiting. He's coming. He's on VypDrive, which starts now. What's up, people? This your boy Viper, the man about tech, and welcome back to another episode of VypDrive. This is the podcast about tech, hosted by the man about tech. And tonight, I have a long-time YouTube Android content creator in the building. I have a legendary OG, the legendary Shanes Starnes. Droid Modder X is here. What's up, Shane? How you doing, baby?
Dude, where is the energy, man?
I don't know. I'm about to stole off, man. Thank you for joining me tonight. I appreciate you.
Hey, I always used to call you the Macho Man Randy Savage of tech.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. I love doing these like WWE type promo intros, man. Get people hyped. I love it, man. It's a good thing. I love it.
It's awesome, man.
But again, thank you for taking the time tonight. I know you're busy, dude, so I appreciate the effort. You making the time for me, man. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. Finally, after all this time, man, I'm finally here.
Woo! Yes. So, Shane, first question I ask every first time guest that comes to the podcast. The people want to know what brought you to YouTube.
So, do you want the short version or the long version?
Oh, no. This is the podcast. This is long form content, baby. We want the story.
Okay, so we'll give you the story. So I've always kind of been a tinkerer. I've always liked to kind of, tear things up, put them back together. When I was a kid, I had the Xbox, the original OG Xbox, and I was able to go and buy a mod chip, put my own hard drive in the Xbox. I don't know if you remember those days.
Oh, yeah.
So my mom actually got us an unlimited rentals at Blockbuster. And so I would run up about 2 blocks away from my house, grab a game, take it back to the house. I'd rip it onto my hard drive, go back to Blockbuster, grab a game, take it back to the house. I think you could do 3 of those a day. So I had like 120 games on my Xbox. And so I was kind of like in the world of hacking and tinkering. And then, several years later, enter Android, and I had this phone. It was called the HTC Touch, and it was on Altel. Do you remember Altel before Verizon bought them out?
Rings the bell, yeah.
Okay, so they were really good like in rural areas. But anyhow, they had this phone called the HTC Touch, and it was the first phone that I'd ever tried to run Android on. It was actually a Windows phone. And so there was this exploit that you could use, and you could dual boot. So you could run Windows and Android. And I loved Android so much. Back then it was, there was a ROM called Men's Warm Eclair. And so that was all the way back on the Eclair build. And that kind of had me hooked on Android. So the very next phone that I had to get was the Motorola Droid X.
Woo!
So this was, of course, Alltel was bought out by Verizon. So as a Verizon customer, went in there and purchased, I think I went to Best Buy. I can remember buying this phone because when the guy checked me out, he had mentioned something about the screen's so big, I'm going to have to get the Geek Squad out to hang it on the wall for you because, we're going to come over and watch Super Bowl on this 4.3 inch display.
Wow.
Back in the day, that was a huge phone.
Right.
But the way that I ended up on YouTube is I spent some time on XDA and I wanted to learn how to root my phone and how to put a custom ROM. So I had some experience with my HTC Touch. And I just remember feeling super anxious because this was, several $100 phone, and it was a big, huge chunk of money that I spent on this phone. I didn't want to destroy it, but rooting your phone, of course, you could destroy your phone.
Oh, yeah.
And so I went to YouTube because I just wanted to see somebody do it without ruining their phone. Mm-hmm. And there were no videos, like absolutely no videos about how to root the Droid X. So I figured, well, if I'm the one that takes the risk and I root the phone, I can show, surely there's other people that want to see this phone rooted without it being bricked. Mm-hmm. And so that was kind of my mindset. So I did the video kind of just to ease other people's anxiety. So, at the time, there was no partner program. You couldn't make money, or at least I wasn't a partner. I couldn't make money. It was probably 6 months to a year before I signed on to become part of the partner program and actually have ads on my videos. So I just did it just for the pure fun of creating videos. Those early videos actually did really well because at the time I was basically the only Verizon root ROM hack video on YouTube. And so if I put one out, my video was basically the only video out there.
Right.
So those early videos were getting, upwards of 100,000 views with no ad revenue or anything like that. But that's how I ended up on YouTube. And I've just kind of stuck with it ever since. It's been about 10, maybe 11 years.
I'm about to say, you said you got the Droid X. That phone came out in about 2009, 2010, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a while. So yeah, I guess it's been right at 10 years since I started the YouTube channel.
It's funny because before I ever had an iPhone or an Android, I had BlackBerry, but the Droid X was my very first Android phone. So
yeah.
It brings back fond memories, man.
I really wanted that OG Droid, but I decided to go with that HTC Touch instead, just because I was familiar with Windows. And then, after I had installed Android on that phone, there was just no going back.
Right. So your channel name used to be Droid Modder X. I mean, I can put 2 + 2 together and figure out that you probably came up with the name from the actual Droid X. Is there more of a story to it, or is that the gist of it?
That's it. It was just, rooting and ROMing that's what the channel was about. If a new ROM came out, I'd flash it to my phone, and then, I'd put out a video about it, whatever that was, whatever the features were. If there was a new root method, I'd put out the video. Back in the day, you had to bootstrap the bootloader. So in order to root your phone, you had to, I don't know if you remember any of that stuff, but there would be like a process to bootstrap the bootloader because it was locked.
Yep.
And there were ways to get around that. For a while, there were ways to get around that, and then they kind of put an end to that.
Yep.
And now you really don't need to root or ROM your phone. The things are super fast. You don't really need to. Back in the day, you had to overclock your phone to get full performance out of it. Overclocking is totally unnecessary.
Damn,
on today's phone.
You just stole my next question. I was just about to ask you, here in 2020, a decade later, do you still feel like there's reason even to root a phone? But you just said no, not really, right?
I can't remember the last time I rooted a phone. I mean, if you really wanted to tinker and play around with it, now there's risk involved in rooting your phone. Samsung has Knox.
Yep.
Different phones have different things that you have to overcome in order to get root. So a lot of times the phone will come out now and it'll be several months before there's even a root method. And then some phones today come out and there's never a root method. But I'm not really sure what I would use it for because, back in the day, you would need root to do things like back up your phone. So if you just wanted to back up your contents, you had to have a specific application that needed root access. Now I can just back up everything to Google Cloud, or whatever. There's really no reason in today's circumstance. I just don't really see a need for it as much anymore.
It's funny because I remember back in the day, and correct me if I'm wrong, but when I used to do Android phones back in the day, I think one of the best ROMs and one of the most popular ROMs that people were putting on their Android was Cyanogen mod, whatever you want to call it. And if I remember the story correctly, I think Cyanogen mod got brought out by OnePlus, or they became OnePlus, or something along those lines. And I think that was the origin of what we know today as Oxygen OS. So,
well, actually, I have a hard time remembering, but I do remember that Cyanogen mod, they went not mainstream, but they actually did have a company, and it became Lineage OS is what Cyanogen mod became. Oxygen OS, I think, was different from Cyanogen mod, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, they were one of the main ones at that same time. Cyanogen mod did officially go to the OnePlus. So like the first OnePlus phone ran Cyanogen mod, which was like huge. I remember being really excited about that an actual ROM went to a legitimate phone as the actual operating system. And I was pretty excited about that. But Oxygen OS, I believe, was a different team.
Okay, gotcha. But yeah, I do remember that Cyanogen mod. So like Janosen said in the chat, some of them went over to OnePlus, and that's why OnePlus is where they are today, because they were kind of in tune with the Android rooting and modding community, and the things that weren't happening on stock Android, they were doing, and then eventually they became OnePlus. They everything that they learned and everything they brought to OnePlus eventually ended up becoming the OnePlus One. So crazy how time flies, man. That was almost like a decade ago or whatever, and here we are now in 2020, and now, like you said, not much reason to root your phone these days. I mean, these phones come packed with everything, especially Samsung. I think Samsung, more than anybody, has probably benefited most from the developer modding community, because Samsung has really been in touch with them, because Samsung usually takes those features and puts them into their Galaxy devices long before they even become stock on Android, and then Android usually has to catch up like 2 or 3 years later. I remember Samsung was the first one to do picture-in-picture. They were the first one to do multi-window support for apps. And now these features are standard on Android, but they weren't standard on Android before Samsung put them on Galaxy devices. So, memories, man. You bring back memories. I'm an iPhone dude. Now you bring back memories, man.
Yeah, those were the days.
I mean, like I told you all, before I had an iPhone, I was on Android because I'm a Verizon customer, much like Shane, and on Verizon, we didn't have the iPhone until 2011 with the iPhone 4. So all I had was Android until 2011. So I had the Droid X, I had the HTC Thunderbolt, I had the Droid Bionic, and then I think at some point I got an iPhone 4 and I started getting an iPhone. But yeah, man, my smartphone root started in Android, actually, believe it or not. So it is what it is.
I tried iOS for 2 weeks. I bought the XS Max for myself. I was going to switch over to the XS Max. I think it was the Apple Watch 4 at the time, just because I wanted to try out the Apple Watch. And so I gave it 2 weeks, and I was like, no, I'm not going to do this. And so I gave the XS Max to my wife, gave her the Apple Watch, and then I went back to Samsung. I just couldn't do it. Well, part of the issue is that I've always had an iPhone for my work phone. So just handling the iPhone as my personal device, it felt like I was back at work, and it's hard for me to separate the two. Like the different notifications that come in would give me stress and anxiety, because that's my work notifications.
I was about to say, how the hell do you go from an Apple Watch back to Android? There is no going back from an Apple Watch. What are you talking about, Shane? What are you talking about here?
Actually, I like the Active Watch 3. I like it a lot.
Ooh, boy, you are really living up to your name tonight, Droid Modder X, because there ain't nobody with the same person besides you. Or then I'd rather have an Android watch than an Apple Watch. But I understand.
I'll give it to you. The Apple Watch 4 was pretty great,
but
I didn't like it enough to go in on iPhone. So
wow.
I had to switch over.
I am just floored. I mean, you had an Apple Watch and you went back to Android. That don't happen every day, man. The force is strong with you. The Android force is strong in you, man. I respect that. I respect that. Yo, shout out to Zach for the super chat. He says, Shane video for himself too from me back in the day. All his K videos and first listen to accessories. Thanks, Shane, with the stills. Hey, man, Shane is a true OG of tech YouTube, man. I'm glad I got a chance to talk to him tonight. Cause this dude been watching your videos a long time, man. Before we go any further, though, shout out to the 14, 15 you all that are watching the podcast live tonight. Thank you for watching another episode of VypDrive with me and my man Shanes Starnes here. I appreciate you guys supporting. If you do want to donate to the podcast, you have the option to super chat like Zach, or you could buy me a coffee. Link is in the description, or you could become a channel member. None of this stuff is required, but anything that you're willing to contribute, always greatly appreciate it. So appreciate you guys. If you guys want to go check out his channel, the link is in the description. So definitely check him out. He is legit. Shout out to those of y'all listening on audio only this week. Thank you for listening to another episode of VypDrive with me and Shanes Starnes. Droid Modder X himself is here. Appreciate you guys listening on audio each and every week. If you want to go check out Shane and his content, the link will be in the show notes. Definitely go check him out. He is legit. Also, if you guys want to support or donate to the podcast, that information is also in the show notes. Not required, but anything that you're willing to contribute, greatly appreciate it. But please, if you happen to be listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving a rating or review as to help more people discover the show. Help me get back into the top 200 of tech podcasts on Apple Podcasts. So if you are on Apple Podcasts listening to this episode, please go down there and leave that rating or review. It will help me out a lot. And thank you for listening to another episode of VypDrive. So let's fast forward to 2020, Shane. So what is your current daily driver of choice?
This is what I'm using for now.
I'm going to assume that's a OnePlus 8, right?
It's a OnePlus 8 Pro.
Ooh, nice. Now, obviously, with the S20 Ultra, I know you had a Galaxy Fold. You have a Galaxy Fold. Obviously, you got the OnePlus 8. So why do OnePlus 8, the OnePlus 8 Pro out of all the other Android phones that are available right now?
So the OnePlus 8 Pro, I really just love how clean it is. So the experience is clean. It always just feels like it performs better than anything else that's out there. It just feels really super fast. I like the fact that it has the 120 hertz display and I can use QHD and 120 hertz at the same time. So I like that. I love the fact that it has the super fast charge whenever you plug it up. I mean, I actually use that pretty regularly. I mostly wirelessly charge, but if I come in the evening and I'm down to 30% and I want to juice it up real quick, if I plug it in for 15 minutes while I'm taking a shower, then it's up to 60 or 70%. So I like that about it. I really love the matte finish on the back. I hope we get something like that for the Note 20 Ultra. I saw that burgundy color, and it appeared to be with a matte finish, which would be awesome. 9 times out of 10, I'm going to put a case on it anyhow. But if I'm carrying it without a case, then I don't have to deal with the smudges with that matte finish on the back. I missed some things from my S20 Ultra. The camera on the OnePlus 8 Pro, it's good in most circumstances, but that 10 by zoom on the S20 Ultra is legit. So I know that the Galaxy S20 Ultra, the camera's had its issues, especially with autofocus.
Don't get me started.
Yeah, but that 10 by zoom is really where it's at on the S20 Ultra, and I have missed that, especially like with my boy playing T-ball this year. There have been some instances where I really wish that I'd had that 10 by zoom. So maybe next year OnePlus will give us some extra zoom. Doubt it, but maybe we'll get lucky.
All right, let's talk about Zoom for a minute, because I was watching the Pixel 4 keynote last year, and the head camera dude went on stage at this keynote and said something that's asinine to me, but I'll run it by you and see what you think about it. So I think his name's Mark Lavoie. Actually, he's no longer with the Pixel team, ironically, but Mark Lavoie came on stage last year at the Pixel keynote and said that while we understand that most consumers have fun and enjoy ultra-wide lenses, we think telephoto lenses are more important, and I was about ready to boot him out of there like Apollo. Shane, do you think that same way, or are you more conventional and you believe that the ultra wide is actually more usable than a telephoto?
I mean, in my day-to-day use, the telephoto zoom is more useful. Just totally being honest. Like, I love the ultra wide. I really do love being able to get more in a picture. But I'm like MKBHD. Before, I've had to zoom with my feet. So I'm not one that likes to pinch and zoom and have like fuzzy, blurry pictures. If I want a good picture, that means I got to get closer to the subject. So having my 10 by zoom on the S20 Ultra and, on my Note 20 Ultra when that comes, to me, it's a game changer. Like, have you seen the 10 by zoom photos? Have you seen how like they look like just a regular?
Yeah, I've used it. I have used it just to test it out, and it's definitely legit. Obviously that 100 times zoom is way over market and overblown. That's just unusable. But yeah, actually up to 30 times zoom is actually usable on the S20 Ultra.
Right.
I can't believe you say that you get more use out of a telephoto lens. Wow.
Dude,
wow.
I'm just in my day-to-day actual use, I get more use out of the zoom than I do the ultra wide. Now, when it comes to like selfies, then an ultra wide selfie to get my family in with me, I would use that obviously more than a zoom on the front. But the ultra wide, if I had to choose between ultra wide or really good zoom, I would choose really good zoom.
Wow. Okay. All right. That's I mean, I guess that's the beauty of it, because these phones have so many different features on them to say that you could use what you need, and then whatever you don't need, you don't use. So like if you don't need an ultra wide and you use the telephoto more, then it's there for you to use. So that's what's up. Me personally, I just feel like you can move in closer to zoom, or you can digitally zoom and still get you can still get the desired result that way. But you can't really move back to get an ultra wide lens. Either you have an ultra wide, or you just can't. You don't have that functionality. You can't really mimic that functionality without the actual lens. So that's why I prefer an ultra wide, because that's something I can't do. I can't fake that. But at least I can walk closer, or I can digital zoom in. I don't need a telephoto for that. But hey, you got to use for what you got, and you got to use what works best for you in your given situation. So I feel you.
Well, the thing about Google with the Pixel is they were trying to do everything with one lens. So where you've got Samsung, they don't mind. They'll throw 4 or 5 lenses at you, and they're perfectly happy with that. Google was trying to do everything on one lens.
Yep.
So I feel like they're going to pick and choose, where somebody like Samsung, they'll give me the ultra wide and the really good zoom. And so, maybe I would go for the phone that has both.
Hey, more options are always the best. I'm with you, man. That's why I like the Galaxy Note line of phones so much. Well, back when they used to pack all the features in there, not so much anymore, but I used to love the Note line because Samsung threw everything and the kitchen sink into that line of phones. Now, over the last 3 to 4 years, they kind of nerfed it a little bit to bring it more to parity with the S line. I don't know why. I wish they would not do that, but it is what it is. But yeah, I like having all the bells and whistles. And it's funny that you say that you're using the OnePlus 8 Pro as your main device now, because I brought a OnePlus 7 Pro last year. I used it for about 3 to 4 weeks, and I just got bored of it. I put it down. I couldn't do it. And I couldn't do it because I agree, Oxygen OS is special. It's fast, it's smooth, it's fluid, it's great. But once you get past all that, there's nothing to it. There's no extra bells and whistles like I get on my Galaxy devices. So for me, the Samsung Galaxy Android devices are my favorite because they have all the bells and whistles, and they do all the basic functionality of stock Android. And I just love the extras that I get with Samsung and their ecosystem or whatever they got going on over there. But OnePlus is like bare bones to me, and I just got bored.
Yeah, I agree. It's pretty vanilla. That's kind of the appeal, is that Samsung, they have all the bells and whistles, but sometimes there's a little too much. So with the OnePlus, it's totally vanilla. It is like the purest form of Android, and they have just enough extra features. So like with Oxygen OS, they have a theme engine in there, so I can theme my phone. I know Samsung has a theme engine, but it's not the same. And I don't know, just the performance on this thing. Samsung phones, I don't know if this is so much an issue, and I don't really keep a phone long enough to really know. But Samsung phones, they've been known in the past for slowing down after about 6 months.
Yeah.
And that may not be the issue anymore. I'm not really.
Yeah. I think after last year, they kind of like got a lot better with that.
Yeah, which is good. And I've never really heard or experienced the same kind of issues with a phone like OnePlus. OnePlus is a little less expensive for the same or more features. There again, the never settle phone, you're settling on the camera is really where you're settling. And then OnePlus, they went a little higher price this year with the OnePlus 8 Pro.
Yeah.
But you're getting their top of the line phone for $900 versus $1,500. And I'm just not really sure, is there really a good reason to spend $600 extra on the S20 Ultra for the average consumer?
God, no, not with that autofocus ridden air-filled camera. Hell no, absolutely not. No. No.
The only thing is whenever you walk into a house or you walk into a place with an S20 Ultra, everybody knows what the phone is. If you walk into a place with a OnePlus 8 Pro, everybody's like, what is that?
Yeah, they're probably looking like you like, what? Did you get that out of one of those Target dollar bins? What is that? Right.
Yeah. And then you tell them, no, it's a Chinese company, OnePlus. They're actually super popular in the development world, the Android development community. And then if you ever find somebody that knows what the phone is, it's a kindred spirit. It's somebody that now you can talk to them about Android because they already know what's up.
Yeah. Yeah, OnePlus definitely here in North America, not very popular, but I think their popularity is definitely growing. So, I think in the next 5 years or so, there'll be more of a household name if they stick with it. But I don't know if trying to move up in price range to Samsung and Apple going to get it done, though, especially in North America. That's not really what you want to do if you want OnePlus. But hey, what do I know? I'm just a consumer.
Yeah.
So, speaking of Samsung, they have an event next week. They have their Unpacked event for the Note 20, the Fold 2, and 3 more devices that they're supposedly unveiling. I know you have had or you still have a Galaxy Fold, the original Fold. So talk to us about your experience with the Galaxy Fold, because I know you are a big fan of that phone.
Yeah, the Galaxy Fold was and still is my favorite phone ever. I ended up selling it to, I sold the phone, and I forget the guy's handle. I could look it up, but let's see here. He actually did an unboxing video of the phone.
Oh, you're the one who sold it to Contractor POV?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Okay. Small world. You sold it to Gary. Yes. Okay.
And just that unboxing video made my month, man. It was awesome to see his experience and his reaction to getting that phone.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was my favorite phone. I love being able to unfold it. I thought that it would be more of a head turner, but I think it's so weird because I had more than one person say, "Oh, that's the Escobar Fold," and they thought it was a $500 cheap knockoff. In other words, they didn't even know that the Galaxy Fold existed. A lot of people had no clue. I think more people probably know about it now, but I thought that it would turn more heads than it did, and it really didn't. But as far as my use with it, I just preferred being able to unfold that larger screen, and it's fun using cutting edge technology. There's nothing like a foldable screen. It's just it's neat to have something. It's like the only one that there is on the market, and yeah, I can't wait for the Fold 2.
I was just about to ask you, what are your thoughts and expectations for the upcoming Fold 2?
Well, I really hope that we get an ultra camera. I saw those leaks with the square camera unit on the back. Ice Universe tweeted out a blurry photo of the Galaxy Fold, and on the back it looked like one of those square ultra camera modules.
Do you really want an ultra camera? Be careful what you ask for. You really want that?
I think that they've probably done some adjustments.
I hope so, because good Lord.
No, they've listened to consumers, and they brought back dual autofocus, and focus is going to be incredible on the Note 20 Plus, the Note 20 Ultra, and it's going to be great on the Fold 2.
It better be.
That camera unit might be an S20 Plus type camera unit on the Fold 2, which would be okay. I'd be all right with that.
Right.
I really like the bigger front screen because I didn't really think that I would use the front screen much, but I used it more than I used the interior screen.
Okay.
Because to me, it was just kind of maybe a little tacky to always unfold it in front of everybody. Like, hey, I'm the man. I got this foldable phone. So I would always just kind of be incognito and
tacky?
Just use the front screen.
You know what we call that, right? That's not tacky. We call that the fluff factor. That's what we call that, Shane. You know better, Shane. You know better.
Well, but then if you did unfold it and someone was standing right there, like say you're in line buying something and you unfold it, then now you have to talk to the person for about 5 minutes. So they want to know, they want to know about it. So now you got to talk to them for about 5 minutes. So I would just use the front screen most of the time.
So you purposely did not unfold your phone, so you have to talk to nobody. You're like, no, leave me alone.
Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant, man. So we know that the Fold 2 is probably going to come with the same ultra thin glass that is on the Galaxy Z Flip. So my question to you is, there were some rumors that the Fold 2 could potentially come with S Pen support, but those have since been bunked, so it's more than likely it won't this year. But do you think that it'll be possible in the future that there will be a Galaxy Fold that has S Pen support?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the goal. I think that would be a huge benefit to be able to have the S Pen support. I used to find myself on the Note 10 Plus, I would literally jot notes all the time. So a lot of people don't know this about me, but I'm an associate pastor. And so anytime I'd have sermon ideas, I would sit there and jot my notes on the note. I just found it easier than typing them in. And so some people use the stylus all the time. Some people use it for a week and then they never take it out of the phone again. I'm the type of person that if I have a note, I use the stylus all the time. And so an S Pen on a Fold device would be awesome. I'd actually really enjoy that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people were disappointed when they found out that the Fold 2 is not coming with S Pen support. But I kind of questioned the durability because right now, the Fold 1 screen was very undurable for the most part. The Z Flip is a little better, but you're still dealing with ultra thin glass that is ultimately plastic, more or less. So if you're banging on the screen every day with an S Pen, I don't know how that screen is going to hold up over time. Even if you're careful with an S Pen on that type of screen, it's still, I don't know if the durability is going to hold up over time with constant S Pen use. But I mean, if Samsung is able to improve the durability of that display over time, maybe next year, then I can definitely see the use case for an S Pen on a foldable device.
I mean, I feel like this year we're going to have some durability improvements on the Z Fold 2. Well, people have this misconception that the Galaxy Fold and the Z Flip are super fragile. I had the same misconception, but I'll give you my own experience. So with the Galaxy Fold, Gary's not he's not gonna like this, but actually he probably has his own testaments because he's in construction, places where there's construction, dirt, dust all the time. And as far as I know, it still works perfectly, and he's had it for months. So he has his own stories about it. But this phone was standing at the very top of the stairs, and I was holding the phone, and I was holding my 1.5-year-old child, and she slipped. And so it was either save the phone or save the child. And so I saved the child. The thing ricocheted off the wall, hit the floor, and it fell all the way down the stairs. And I thought to myself, because I didn't pay retail, I actually paid way more than retail because I got it about a week early from Korea. And I was thinking, wow, all that money that I spent on this phone, this thing is surely demolished. And I went down there, opened it up. It's perfectly fine. There's no issues with it. Everything's great. And, you know, that kind of dispelled the rumor or the idea, the notion that this thing is super fragile. Like I know Zach from Jerry Rig Everything, he put some pebbles and some sand in the phone, folded it a few times, and then destroyed the phone. But then you see Snazzy Q has that video out where he takes the Z Flip and he chunks it on the ground, and then he flips it up and down really rapidly, and he's at the beach or whatever, and he throws it in the sand, and then I'm kind of cringing, like, no, I remember Zach's video, that's going to destroy it. But apparently, in his video, with the Galaxy Z Flip, not the Fold, but the Galaxy Z Flip, putting it in the sand did not destroy the phone. So I feel like, maybe they looked at Zach's video and said, hey, it wasn't dust resistant. We've got to build in an extra layer of dust resistance. Of course, the Fold 2 will not have any kind of certification, but they're working on those things as they go. And so I feel like the Galaxy Z Fold 2 5G, what is it? The Z Fold 2?
No. Damn it, Shane. No. We are not calling it the Z Fold. They call it the Galaxy Fold 2 to make it easier for all of us.
Okay, so the Galaxy Fold 2 is definitely going to be more durable. And I feel like it was already pretty durable, but we had that whole slew of videos that came out before it was released where, the thing just didn't last more than a day. All the reviewers broke their phones. And so I feel like that gave it a bad rap when it comes to durability. But I really feel like this is going to be substantially more durable than what we had last year.
I mean, after that reviewer debacle last year in April, I hope they improved the durability. I mean, they can ill afford another reviewer debacle, but I think we'll be fine this time. I don't think they're going to be like that. Yo, shout out to Yates for becoming a channel member. Thank you, sir. I appreciate you supporting the what I do here on these YouTube. So thank you so much, man. So you know the thing, man. I love the videos that you do when a new device comes out, and you are like the first or one of the first people that come out with a you always come out with the first 10 things to do with such and such device, and you are always like clockwork every time. And I love those videos because they're so informative. How did you come up with the idea for those videos? And like, I mean, like I said, you do them like pretty quickly, man. Like, how do you like come up with all that information so quickly?
So it wasn't Steve Jobs that said something about, oh man, like if you respect somebody, you take their idea and make it better. I don't know, something like that. The guys over at Droid Life, Kellen and Tim?
Yeah.
Okay, so they actually had the first 10 things to do a couple phones before me. And so it became this thing where we were in a battle to see who could get that video up first, because the algorithm's going to run with whoever gets the video up first. And these days, even if I get it up first, as soon as they post it, my video dies, theirs takes off. But yeah, that's where I got the idea for that video.
Yeah, I do remember them doing those type of video. But like I say, you are usually one of the first people that always do it, no matter what device is out. I always see Shane or Droid Moderator first 10 things to do, such and such. And like clockwork, man. You're like clockwork. They're good videos. They're always informative. I love those videos.
Yeah, I try to get them out there as quickly as I can. You got to work this algorithm.
Don't we know it, man? Don't we know it? So, Mr. Droid Moderate, do you think that there's ever a possibility that we could see Shane try an iPhone again?
Well, the iPhone 12 is going to be the most Android-like iPhone that's ever been out. So True. It's possible. I mean, I'm always going to have iPhones in the studio. My wife is on iPhone now, so every one that comes out, we always pre-order. She always gets the latest iPhone. And I'll do things, with the iPhone. I'll compare the iPhone to other Android phones. So yeah, there's always a possibility that I'll at least give it a try.
He said he'll give it a try. He's not making no promises though. So you made a video. I mean, judging from our conversation in the podcast, I can kind of tell. I haven't watched the video, but I can kind of tell why your reason it came up to be. But you made a video saying, why am I keeping the OnePlus 8 Pro and ditching the S20 Ultra? So can you talk a little bit about your I guess, can you go a little bit deeper into your reasoning for ditching the Ultra and keeping the OnePlus 8 Pro?
I think the main thing was the value. So I think for most people, they really want to know, like, is it worth me spending $1,500 on a cell phone? And I think in most cases, it's really not worth it. I know that you're probably going to hold on to a phone for 2 or 3 years. Mm-hmm. But if there's something like the OnePlus 8 Pro out there that checks every box minus the 100 zoom, then maybe it's worth saving $600 to look at something like the OnePlus 8 Pro. But for the most part, it was the speed and the performance, and it was the value that made me decide to stay with the OnePlus 8 Pro.
Nice.
I mean, and the 120 hertz with QHD. Now, I'm not saying that doesn't kill your battery, because I can still get about 3.5 to 4 hours of screen on time with the 120 hertz and the QHD, which is why I kind of have to use that fast charging when I get home at night. But just having the option there, Samsung knows it's going to kill the battery, so they say, well, we're not going to give you the option because we want you to have the battery life. But I purchased the phone. I paid $1,500 for the phone. Shouldn't I be able to decide whether or not I wanted to kill my battery? And then, I guess they just figure that most customers or most consumers, they won't realize, well, it's because I have the 120 hertz and the QHD. But then again, those consumers will never turn it on because those consumers will keep it at the 180p that it comes out of the box.
Correct.
So go ahead.
And this is the thing that perplexes me most about that decision by Samsung. It's their panel on the OnePlus 8 Pro. The OnePlus 8 Pro display is made by Samsung. So
right.
If you can do 120 hertz Quad HD on the OnePlus 8 Pro, which is a display made by Samsung, why can't Samsung do that on their own phones? What is this? Who authorized this?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. They can. They want to, almost like Apple, they want to control your experience because they know what's best for you.
You're not Apple, Samsung. Jesus. What?
But that's the only explanation that I can give you is until you can use both and not have a 3.5 hour screen on time day like what I generally get with the OnePlus 8 Pro with those features turned on. Until you can get better battery life with the 120 hertz and the QHD, Samsung may not even give you the option on the Note 20.
I was about to go there. It's been rumored that they nerfed it on the Note 22. Like, what?
Yeah.
You couldn't figure it out in the half a year between the S and the Note lines. You couldn't figure this out? The damn S20 Ultra has a 5,000 milliamp hour battery. What do you mean I can't have 120 hertz in Quad HD? It's a 5,000 milliamp hour battery, Shane. What are they talking about?
You need 1,000 milliamp hours to help with the 5G. So that kind of leaves no room for the 120 hertz and the QHD.
Oh man.
So maybe next year.
That argument doesn't work because only 1% of the population can even use 5G. 5G
I don't know, man.
Isn't yet.
AT&T just said that they're nationwide with it. So
AT&T have been touting 5G for the past 2 years with their 5G. Don't even talk to me about AT&T.
Well, no, 5GE is the in between. They're talking about nationwide with 5G.
Exactly. They've been talking about nationwide 5G with 5GE. They've been lying to us. I don't want to hear about no AT&T 5G. I don't want to hear about this.
T-Mobile's nationwide, right? That's what they say.
I have friends at T-Mobile. I love T-Mobile, but when T-Mobile talks about their 5G, it's almost like 4G on steroids. It's not really 5G. It's just enhanced 4G. But you're right. T-Mobile claims to have nationwide 5G, but none of these networks are fully fleshed out yet. I think we're still probably another 2 or 3 years away from having fully realized 5G network that we can actually see tangible differences on. So yeah, we're not there yet. But it's nice that the technology is out there. But yeah, nobody taking advantage of 5G even in 2020. Not really. No.
I agree. Everyone's going to have to upgrade their plans anyway, because most people don't have a plan that includes 5G.
Correct.
So even if you have the phone, you got to have the know-how to go and upgrade your plan. And so then you got to be under a tower. And yeah, there's a lot of things that are going to be a barrier to anyone actually being able to use 5G right now.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. 5G, not a viable selling point for any phone in 2020. I told you guys in 2019 not to buy a phone because of 5G. I'm telling you again in 2020, don't buy a phone because I have 5G. You'll be sadly mistaken. It ain't there yet. But let's talk about Google, Shane, because for the longest time this year, we've been hearing rumors and rumblings about the Pixel 4a. Is it coming or is it not coming? Is it coming or is it not coming? But finally, our boy John Prosser has stepped up to the plate and said that, yes, the Pixel 4a is coming in a week. So, and I have reason to believe that is indeed the case. We are getting the Pixel 4a next week. So what are your thoughts on the impending, imminent arrival of the Pixel 4a.
So you have notification that you're receiving yours next week?
No, but I've heard other people who have said they gotten their notification, so I know it's coming.
Gotcha. All right. Yeah. Well, I've received a notification from Team Pixel that didn't specify anything, so they just said something was on the way. I assume it's the Pixel 4a.
Wait. Go. So when you say you got a notification, did you get like an email, or did you get like tracking information, or what did you get exactly?
Just an email. And this was about 2 weeks ago.
Oh, you got okay. I got that email too. Okay, but I'm waiting for actual tracking information, which I haven't got yet. So
yeah, I don't have that yet. At first I kind of was thinking it'd be like a face mask with Team Pixel on the front or something like that.
Yeah, well, apparently I'm hearing people that got actual tracking information today. So I guess I'm going away.
Awesome. What do I think about it?
What do you think about it?
So this is like the mid-range Pixel, right? So I don't know. Maybe they should have skipped it because we're already so far into the cycle. Now they got to keep up with OnePlus Nord, which actually that's not even. I don't know if that would be a consideration because it's not going to be for sale in the U.S.
Correct.
What's a good mid-range phone to compete with it right now? The iPhone SE?
iPhone SE. Samsung has a bunch of mid-range phones out there. They was 851, 61, 71, one of them phones, or a bunch of them phones. So yeah. TCL just dropped the TCL 10 Pro. Excellent mid-range phone. So yeah, there's some competition down there in the mid-range game, definitely.
To be honest, if it was me, with all the mid-range phones out there, if I had to choose between one, I would just choose the Pixel 4a. And, I think a lot of people would go iPhone SE. I mean, I've had hands-on with the A51, Samsung's mid-range stuff, and I would just personally prefer whatever Google's putting out on the mid-range stuff.
Mm-hmm. I had the Pixel 3a last year, and I'm guessing you did too, and that phone was amazing for the value.
It really was, yeah. And just to me, what Google's able to do with the software on the camera, nothing else is going to come close to your camera except for the iPhone SE when it comes to a mid-range phone. Yep,
correct. Like, yeah, it's Pixel, it's iPhone, and then there's everybody else when it comes to camera quality in the mid-range game. Definitely, man. But yeah, it's funny because I don't know why Google waited so long to drop the phone, because we've heard rumors that the phone was ready to ship like months ago, but I guess because of the pandemic and things like that, Google kind of held back on it. But now you're going directly up against the S20, the Fold 2, and then you got the iPhone coming out with all their lineup coming out in September or October, whatever. And you already got the iPhone SE out there with the other mid-range. And like, they are really stacking themselves into a corner with this like late release. So I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see how the sales do for the Pixel 4a, given all the competition that's coming and is already out there.
I feel like the way that they're thinking about it is that there is no other competition, because if you're looking at a Pixel 4a, you're not looking at a Note 20. You're not looking at a Fold 2. You're not looking at an iPhone 12, because those would be out of your price range. Or even if you could afford them, you think that's way, too much. It's ridiculous. I'm tired of paying $1,500 for a phone. Give me a good $500 phone. And so they may just feel like there's no real competition out there. Maybe this is okay to release it now. As long as it makes it into the carriers, they're going to sell the Pixel 4a, because representatives know about the camera and they'll be able to upsell that camera on the Pixel 4a. So I feel like as long as they're, they were in AT&T, Verizon, were they in T-Mobile with the 4 and the 4XL?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay, so yeah, if they could do that with the 4a, they'll have some success with it.
Yeah, as long as if you can get yourself in all of the different carrier thing, yeah, you definitely have a chance. But it's still going to be a tough road to hold, even with being in all the carriers. But I mean, hey, they are down there in the mid-range game, so maybe they can make some noise, and they are coming off the heels of the success of the 3.8, so they definitely have a chance to do things. And I'm sorry, you guys, I am like terrible at promoting myself and my stuff, but I see people were in the chat asking about the merch. There's a link in the description that will take you to my Teespring Vibe Zone store, and you can get all this new merch that I wore on this podcast and the last podcast. All the shirts are on Vibe Zone on Teespring, so just go down to the description, click on the Teespring link down there, and it will take you to the Vibe Zone, where you can find all the merch. Like I just made new merch a few weeks ago, and thank you, Jonathan, for pasting the link in the chat. Just click on that link that he just pasted, and you can get you some of this new Vype merch. So there you go. Thank you for asking. But there it is. There it is. All right, let's see what else is going on. So besides besides the Fold 2, are there any other devices that you're looking forward to have later for the rest of the year?
I mean, hopefully we'll hear something about the Pixel 5, but I just got the LG Velvet in. I'm interested in checking that out. I guess that would be the competitor to the 4A. To me, that looks like a pretty solid mid-range phone. It actually has pretty unique styling. So instead of going with the big, huge square, they decided to do something a little different with the back on the camera. That phone looks pretty interesting. I'm kind of excited to check that out. But yeah, other than the Fold 2, the Fold 2 is the only phone that I'm actually really excited about. For some reason, I'm not even like super hyped about the Note 20 Ultra.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I'm with you. I'm looking forward to the Fold 2. I definitely want to see what Samsung adds with the Fold 2 because, I mean, I myself, I don't know if I understand the practicality of a folding device, but everybody who had the original Fold kept gushing about it, and they would shut up about it. And I'm like, all right, I need to check out the Fold 2. So I'm hoping that the Fold 2 comes to Verizon, because if it doesn't come to Verizon, I can't get it, obviously. But if it comes to Verizon, I'm going to try my best to get my hands on it. And I'm interested to see what they do with it. I'm definitely interested about the Fold 2, definitely.
Yeah, all of us Fold owners last year, we became the sheep that had to get our justification for our purchase. So we're out there all the time talking it up and trying to get everybody on board.
Y'all are damn army man. From you to Michael Fisher to Sojano, Beth, Mac Weinbach, Mark Kev, John Redinger. All of you all were like loud and proud about the Fold last year. Y'all would not shut up about it. But I mean, it must have been a good device if you all were waxing poetic about it. So like I said, I'm kind of excited to see what they bring with the Fold 2. Hopefully I can get my hands on it. Which brings me to another interesting question. So the LG Velvet that you have, I don't know if you have that case with it, but if you have that case, then it becomes sort of like a folding device. We know that Microsoft has their Surface Duo and Surface Neo, which is kind of a folding thing, but not really. What do you think about the natural folding devices like the Fold 2 and the Z Flip, as opposed to the I don't know what you call it, the hinge folder like the Velvet and the Duo devices?
So I have kind of mixed feelings about this. So the V60, I really enjoyed that experience with the case, but to me, the Fold is on a different level because it's one screen. It's a solid screen. You don't have to worry about the bezels in the middle. I believe the Velvet has slimmer bezels than like the V60 and the V50 and all of those phones, but it's two different experiences. You can do multitasking on something like the Velvet. You can put one app on one side and one app on the other. With the Fold, I know this is overkill, but if I wanted to open up 12 windows on the Fold, I could open up 12 windows. You could open up 3 windows and actually multitask with 3 windows, and that was great on the Fold. But like with the Velvet, you can do one app over here and one app over here. And then they have some other features. You can do the gaming mode where you've got the gamepad on the bottom, but I found that there's not a lot of games that are compatible with that. And so for me, it's just a better experience on something like the Fold. You can't really say that the Velvet is a folding device. It's really just a dual screen device.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I know there's been some kind of debating on Twitter back and forth about this, but I'm in the camp that you are. I don't think devices like the Velvet and the Duo, I don't think those are true folding devices because those are 2 different screens folding by a hinge. Where with the Galaxy Fold devices, that's one screen folding onto itself. That's an actual foldable device in its truest natural sense. So, like I said, I agree with you.
But that being said, something like the Velvet that's more in line with, I guess, like a $700 price point for the phone and the case, maybe that gives you a different experience versus paying $2,000 for a Fold. So, I still see the appeal for sure on something like the Velvet with the dual screen.
Definitely. All right, so we got an interesting question in the chat here from Zach, and I think it's something I asked you about over a year ago, so I kind of know the answer, but just for the people that are listening and watching right now, like I said earlier in the podcast, your channel name used to be Droid Moderate. You changed it recently, I think, or maybe not recently, but you changed it to your real name, which is Shanes Starnes. Why the name change in the channel?
All right, so the reason for the name change, I just felt like it was better branding. You guys know Tim Schofield.
Mm-hmm.
He was quarterback king 77. John for Lakers became Techno Buffalo, or is he still John for Lakers, or didn't he become Techno Buffalo?
Well, he's not really Techno Buffalo anymore. Now he's just using his name too.
Okay, so yeah, so I just felt like it was just better branding, and then the genesis of the name Droid Modder X was the Droid X plus ROMs and mods and hacks, and then I got to a point in the channel where I wasn't really doing any mods, ROMs, or hacks, so I felt like the name just didn't fit anymore, and I just wanted better branding, and I felt like my name was better branding.
That makes perfect sense. Definitely. All right. Before we get you out of here, do you happen to game by chance?
No, not really. I would love to. I've got an HP Omen X that can play any game you throw at it. But I just don't have time. I've got 3 kids. And early on, my wife was pretty cool with gaming. And, especially like if I throw out something like Guitar Hero that we could both play. But then as I got a little bit older and as I had a YouTube channel and as the kids started coming, she was like, okay, so either you've got time for the YouTube or you've got time for the video games, you've got time for the kids. And so I kind of had to agree with her, man. Just the gaming had to go. But my son is 7 years old now. And so sometimes I can sneak in some gaming if he's involved. So if I could pull him into the office, we can get a game going, then he and I can play some games. But that's, I can't really justify the time.
Gotcha. So there's probably no chance of you getting any of these next generation consoles, I'm guessing.
No, probably not. Gotcha. Unless I buy one for the kids. They've got a Switch. But that might be my excuse, is the young man needs a PlayStation 5.
There you go. There you go. There you go. Your justification is right there.
Yeah.
Shanes Starnes, man. Thank you for the conversation, sir. I appreciate the time.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. Maybe we can do this again sometime.
Would love to. I would love to. Before we go, let the people know where they can find you.
Okay. You can find me at youtube.com/DroidModderX. The ERX is a 3RX. So you can also just search my name. You'll find me. And you can find me at twitter.com/DroidModderX with an E. Instagram.com/DroidModderX. And you can search for Droid Modder X on Facebook and find me over there as well.
So basically what we're saying, folks, is that if you type in Droid Modder X anywhere, you will find Shane. I mean, it's just, even though he tried to get away from the name on YouTube, it kind of follow him. He can't get away from something you just can't get away from.
That's right.
I couldn't get away from Viper if I tried. So you can't get away from Droid Modder X. You just can't get away from these things. So that's what's up, man. But again, thank you for the time. I appreciate you. Shout out to those of y'all that watched the podcast live today. Thank you for watching and hanging out with me and Shane for another episode of VypDrive. For those of y'all that super chatted, became a channel member, or brought me a coffee, thank you so much. I appreciate you guys. If you want to go check out a channel, Janosin just pasted it in the chat. There it is. Click on the link. Check them out. If you're into Android or into smartphones in general or different tech, I think he even has like earbud videos on the channel too. Definitely check him out. This dude is one of the OGs of tech YouTube. He's been doing it for a while. Awesome content, no doubt about it. Shout out to those of y'all that are listening on audio only this week. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of VypDrive with me and the OG Droid Modder X, Shanes Starnes. Appreciate you guys supporting the podcast. So thank you. If you want to go check out Shane's content, those links are in the show notes. Definitely go down there and check him out. He is definitely legit. Also, if you want to support the podcast or donate to the podcast, that info will be also in the show notes. Not required, again, but anything you're willing to contribute, greatly appreciated. If you are listening on Apple Podcasts, please consider leaving a rating or review as to help more people discover the podcast and to help me try to get back into the top 200 of tech podcasts on Apple Podcasts. So if you're listening on Apple Podcasts and you have the time, definitely go give me a rating or review on Apple Podcasts. And thank you for listening to another episode of VypDrive. For those of y'all that are new here and don't know me, I am Viper. I am the man about tech, captain of Team Apple. If you want to go check out my main channel where I do mostly Apple videos, the link that's up on the screen right now that you know since you pasted is the link to get to my main channel. This channel here, my live stream channel, I only do live streams on here. I'm usually interviewing most of your favorite creators on the podcast. And every Friday night, I do a Friday Night Viper live stream, which is more like a community chat with your favorite creators every Friday night where we talk about pretty much any and everything. Usually it's based on tech, but yeah, don't chat go a little crazy sometimes. So yeah, welcome to the channel. If you like what you heard tonight, subscribe. For those of y'all that are still watching here, tomorrow night it could be fun because for the first time ever on VypDrive, we have one of the premier female tech creators in the game coming to the podcast. That is right. Crystal Laura will be here tomorrow night on VypDrive. So that will be fun. So definitely come back tomorrow night for that if you guys are interested. But until the next time, people, this your boy Viper, the man about tech. You know where to find me. So come back for more.